Hello, welcome back to reality. Amy, your face looks a little weird. It's true, you're correct. It's because today I am replicating on this side of my face the makeup I did when I was a magician's assistant. In this side of my face, I am doing how I would currently do my makeup if I were a magician's assistant, within the same realms of like the guidelines that they had given us when I was, Now, knowing what I do about onstage makeup, offstage makeup, what my preferences are, what looks nice. So I don't really share any specific stories, but I do talk about my experience and some of the tricks that we did. Overall, it was actually a pretty hard experience for me. It was a summer of being a magician's assistant, and I won't say the company, I won't say where. There were some things in the experience that I wish were different. Just how things were handled, or the professionality, or even some of the opportunities that I got. But then there were also some things like the job itself was so fun. Like learning the trade of a magician was incredible. And also this specific magician I worked with shared the gospel in all of his shows. So he was a Christian, so he respected us backstage, and he was kind of a father figure to us backstage. He wasn't creepy to us, which I was really grateful for. But in this video, I will not be spilling tea, because if something goes on the internet, anyone could see it, and I'm still friends with some of those people. So there's that. Please join me as I explain the differences between these two sides of my faces, what products I did use, because that's a little bit interesting, and how I would do it differently and why. Let's get started. I'm nervous. Why am I nervous? Okay, so I'm going to do this side of my this side of my face how I would do magician's assistant makeup now, knowing what I do for onstage and offstage makeup. And this face, I'm gonna do what we did, or as close as I can with the products I now have. I remember I would just start with my base. So let's just start. So the makeup for us girls was not provided for us. So we had to buy our own makeup. And because we had like 7, sometimes 8 shows a week, I was not about to buy expensive makeup, nor did I know much about expensive makeup at the time. So I don't know if you noticed, but I did not prime my skin. I don't think I used a primer. I used a pressed powder foundation from the dollar store, because I was going through so much of it that I was like, I am not about to spend more than I have to on this. I'm pretty sure I put it on when my moisturizer was still like tacky. Doesn't look great. I remember it being pretty like full coverage, but I think I also used a color that was darker than my skin. I'm going to, on this side of my face, use my Bare Minerals liquid foundation, because that's the liquid foundation I have now. But this foundation also lasts forever, so it probably would have lasted me the whole summer if I had bought something like that. And the coverage is bomb. But we had to buy our own makeup. There was something provided for us, and that was the like eye primer that they wanted us to use. It wasn't a primer, but it's what went under our eyeshadow, so I'm calling it a primer. And it was this like stark white, clown white, I honestly don't even know what it was. Cream something, but it was so dense that we would have to put it in front of the heater to make it like blendable, like to the point where we could pick it up and blend it. I should have done the liquid first. So we would get there at call time. I would always get there early because I would want to, I'll explain. So we'd get there at call time, or my like personal call time, turn the heater on. That was the first thing we did, because we all had to put our eyeshadow right in front of the heater to make it soft enough that we could blend it with our fingers, or pick it up with a brush, or whatever we chose to do. And then I would do my hair. So I wore a wig, which was actually really nice. It was nice to not have to do my hair, and they did take that into consideration. They said, we have our girls wear wigs, one, so that it looks the way we want it to, but also so you're not doing heat damage to your hair every day. And that is one part of the job that I actually really liked. Okay, so obviously one side has much thicker coverage than the other, and honestly, I don't think I even wore like a concealer or anything, which is just ridiculous to me that I just slapped this on. And part of it was like, okay, I was doing this every day, so I wanted to do a routine that made sense, but also like, why would I kind of like halfway do my makeup? Like, why didn't I do it? Well, I didn't know. Because on my face I used a powder, I didn't have to set it, but I think I will set this side. I'm gonna have to do things in a different order because I want to like contour and stuff on this side, but I didn't on the other side. Okay, I'm gonna quick do my brow, and I say brow because guess what? I did not touch my eyebrows back when I did this. So I was looking at pictures, my whole face is like totally done up, and my eyebrows are like these little scraggly bushes above my eyes, and especially on stage. I'm sure it looked fine, but it just feels incomplete. So I would do my hair, I would be wearing like warm-up clothes, and then I would do my makeup, and then I would go on stage, and the stage was dark, and I would just put in my headphones and I would stretch, which any good like dancer and performer knows to do that. I was the only one that did that. I was the only one who warmed up, which at the time seemed pretty crazy to me because I would say professionally people do that. So I'd warm up by myself. And they would make fun of me. My castmates would make fun of me for wanting to get there early to warm up, which is hilarious. Okay, I'm gonna use a little bit of like a cream contour situation on my right side because this is what I would have done if I were doing this again. So bringing in some of my like stage makeup knowledge, you want to like accentuate the features that are there so that with the bright lights and far away, the audience knows what's going on. This wasn't like the most well-equipped of theaters, and so the lights weren't like super bright, but I would probably still do it, knowing me, and I enjoy it, so it's like, why wouldn't I just enjoy the chance to do my makeup? I'm gonna do a little one for my nose, and then I'm gonna bring it up to my eye a little bit. A little here, and then under my brow. I'm just gonna bring that so there's a shadow there. So I would warm up, and my castmates would make fun of me. And I'd eat dinner before call so that I had time for my tummy to settle. And then, well, now I'm gonna set this. I am using the e.l.f. powder, but it's because I didn't want to dig up my other ones. And then it would be time to like check in costumes and wig and places and stuff like that. Was what the pre-show routine was for me personally. I don't know what everybody else did because I was by myself warming up. And I wasn't doing the most intense tricks physically, but I wanted to take care of my body, make sure nothing happened. So I warmed up. Okay, so for the eye makeup on my left side, this is what we would do. I've got my white cream here. This is the closest thing I can find. And we would take it with our fingers and literally put it everywhere on our eyes. Everywhere. And in order to not make it look so, I was seeing the other girls do this or see the example, and I was like, that looks scary. I'm gonna do kind of a modified version. So when they first hired us, or not first hired us, but when they hired us, they were like, this is how we want you to do your makeup, which is cool that we had a training. I'm glad for that. But it wasn't done by a makeup person. It was done by the magician's wife, who is, I mean, his like right-hand man, you know? But it wasn't like an actual like makeup, I mean, it was a makeup training, but it was like, this is what we want you to do. Feel free to take some liberties, but these are the principles. So I don't know if I would do white. It definitely creates like a contrast. They're going for like the contrast, right? So the contrast that makes your eyes really stick out. I don't know if I'd go for a white. I think I would go for like a light concealer color, which is I think what I'm gonna do, because I think it makes it pop enough without being like scary. Maybe I missed the point of like what they were trying to communicate or something, but I thought it looked kind of scary at times. But maybe on stage it looked good. I never saw it from on stage. I only ever saw it on stage. So maybe I would do a color like that. The color we used was like more white than this, so I feel like I should put more on. So when I got hired, I was a freshman in college. So this is spring of 2012. Now I was getting my musical theater and dance degree. Some of the girls I think would even put it under. I can't remember if I did that or not. I don't think I did. That looks much more like what it did. Yeah, this is looking the correct amount of scary. And then I would take a loose glitter. I think this might be the actual one. It might have been lighter than this, so I might use something lighter, but this might be the actual one that I bought that summer, which means I've had it for a minute. But I would use a loose glitter. Let's see, is that closer to the color? And I would kind of tone down the white, like the intense whiteness, and make it like a little bit more humane. So I remember what I did. I used to take this darker one and go on the outside, and the lighter one and go on the inside. So I try to create like a little bit of depth. Wow, that is such intense loose glitter. I'm gonna take a brush. I'm pretty sure this is like what I did. Oh, that might be too dark. Uh-oh, bummer. Oh no, what do I do? Blend it out. I actually use my fingers for this. So I used something like kind of on the outside because I wanted to keep the lightness of the color while bringing a little bit of like humanity back into it, but it was like loose glitter. They were like all about the glitters. And then maybe it was like this one on the inside. In this company, more is more. So like they were like, just load it on, don't even worry about it. And that, I guess, looked the way that they wanted it to on stage. If I were doing this now, let's see, I would use an eyelid primer probably, but I put my concealer on there, so I think we're good for now. And I would use maybe a color like this, something that's like kind of fleshy but still shimmery, because I do think some shimmer is fun, especially on stage. That one might not be glittery enough. I might want a glittery one. Okay, let's do this one. Because I would definitely still want my eyes to pop, like that's important when you're on stage. Okay, so I got hired and I was getting my musical theater and dance degree. There were three other main girls that whole summer, and then there were a couple girls that like came in at one point and left or whatever, and I actually had to leave the summer early too, to start school. But the other girls, some of them were local, and so they were able to stay into the school year and stuff like that. I would probably do that color, and then I would actually probably do something in the outer corner. Maybe like, and it doesn't have to be perfect because you're seeing it from like further away, right? So anything to define the eyeballs is what we want. And I'm actually gonna do a wing over here. So we're gonna help ourselves out by creating that shape a little bit. So there are a couple local girls, and then I was roommates with another girl who were actually still friends. I really enjoyed my friendship with her throughout that summer. We're gonna do the wing before we get too much further. Oh, I should close this loose glitter maybe. This is terrifying. Okay, fun fact and hack for you. I took the actual color, the lighter one, the light glitter that I used, and I mixed it with a setting spray, and now it's my like all over glowy spray. So fun fact. All right, let's go ahead and do this winged liner and I'll be right back. Now, it would not have had to be perfect because I was on stage. I know that I actually can't remember if I did liner on the top. I must have because I was wearing lashes, but I don't remember doing it. I know I did liner on the bottom because I always did that then. And I can't remember if I used a black or not. Wow, what a contrast. And I think I would put some sort of line on the bottom. Maybe brown. Maybe not black, but maybe brown. And then if I was really crazy, I would put white in here, but I actually don't have one. Let me see if I can take some of this, the fleshy color, and put it on the inside there. That is something else, isn't it? Wow. Whew. Okay, and so my eyes are done, which is kind of funny. Okay, so I know that I had a bright blush on in those pictures. You'll be able to see as they come around, but I didn't do any highlighter, I didn't do any contour. I just did like a lot of blush. So we're gonna use this like hot pink because I think that's like actually close to what I used. I don't know what I used, and it was not cute. Like, it was not well done. It was like, some of the pictures it looks pretty splotchy, which is funny. And when you have to do the same makeup every day, it's not like it has to be perfect every day. It just like, it starts being less important that it's perfect. So that's pretty clowny, right? Which maybe that's, I don't know. So we're going to create some dimension with this. So it's hard to tell these stories without including other people / like making it sound like I'm throwing them under the bus, because that is not my goal. But I had like some pretty serious traumas from that summer, which sounds pretty like first world petty problems. But there were just some ways that the work environment was, and the relationships between people, and like the professionality or lack of professionality that really messed me up. And I came from I had pretty high expectations for professionality. That was really hard for me to adjust to. Like, I was getting in trouble for things I didn't do, and I was not given chances that I feel I like had deserved or like worked for. I'm gonna use just like a pretty pink color, because it's easy for features to get lost in on stage, but they don't have to be like clowny, you know? They can be softer. Obviously gonna use some highlighter, because why would you not? Oh, that is too soft. We need like strobing. You know what I need is like a liquid that you can just like dabby, but I'm not gonna do that because it's in the other room where my baby's sleeping. So we're just going to mix some things and hope that we get a little bit more intensity. That's better. So there were things about the environment that I had expectations of, or that I thought would be a certain way, and were not that way. And that was really, really tough for me. I did make some dear friends that summer. Like I said, my roommate that I was with that summer, she and I were buddies and still are. Like, we went to her wedding a few years ago. We get their Christmas card and stuff like that. There was a dude who was a buddy of mine, and just stuff like that. So like I survived, right? Like, we did okay, but there were some things that summer that I would not choose again. It's hard because I really liked the job itself. This is all highlighter, what I'm doing. I really loved being a magician's assistant. Like, it was so fun. It was like, I love illusions and magic, and that was just a really, really fun piece. I would totally do again. Like, I would totally be a magician's assistant again. Cost was pretty dear. Like, I had to go through some counseling to like work through some of those issues. It was a crazy experience. So my lip color in these pictures is kind of confusing. I don't really know what I'm wearing in those pictures. I have a couple of options. I have this like lip palette, and I did not wear something transfer proof. I didn't wear something high end. I'm looking at this, that looks kind of, and I honestly probably wore a couple different things that summer, but I think if I went back, I would totally wear red. I don't know why I didn't, but I didn't pick anything that was like transfer proof or anything, so I had to like wipe it off and reapply halfway through, which is obnoxious if you've ever had to do that. But also at intermission we had like snack breaks and stuff because it's such intense work. And guess what? No lip liner, no nothing. Just smacked them right on there. All right, let's use this guy. All right, that looks pretty accurate from what I remember 9 years ago. Let's put this red on. There's that. Lashes. Oh my gosh, you guys, I almost forgot lashes. That's like what makes this. I'm trying to decide which ones to wear. No, I wore these, I think, in my Dallas Cowboys cheerleader video. I just remembered a detail that's kind of important. Our lash glue was black. So it looks like I have eyeliner on those pictures, but it's because the lash glue was black. Should we just go big? Should we just go flashy? Let's just do it. So I went ahead and put a black line on this eye. All right, I'm gonna pop these lashes on and then we'll be back. I think what's hard thinking about that job is I did like bits and pieces of it, and I liked some of the people I worked with, and I liked the actual job, but there were other things that did not make it worth it. Oh my gosh, these are just so large. I think they're too large. They're like a joke. They're like in front of my eyebrows. I think they're too big, you guys. So that job, that magician's job, was the reason I know how to put lashes on now is because I wore them every day for a whole summer. How I got confidence putting lashes on, otherwise I never would have learned. There were also a lot of things about that job that I mentioned were like a little less professional than what I would have hoped. Like my bra didn't fit all summer because they just didn't have one that fit me. So there were a lot of things about that summer that I would definitely change. And again, I don't want to go into too much detail because there are probably, it could get back to someone, and that is unprofessional and just not helpful. But there were a lot of fun things, like I learned how to do illusions. Like we did shadow box tricks and we did a levitation and didn't get sawed in half, but got like pushed through things. And we didn't have a tiger, but we had a really fluffy dog and he was very sweet. Various types of disappearing tricks, disappearing and reappearing tricks, melting tricks like going through the floor, and or like the kinds of tricks where things just keep coming out of the box and you don't know where they're coming from, stuff like that. So learning the actual tricks was really, really fun. I wish I'd gotten more opportunities to do them like that summer. So thanks for joining me. I hope this was fun. I wasn't sure what I would talk about because I definitely didn't want to like turn this into a I hated my boss video, because that's not the case. Like that friend who got married a couple years ago, like he officiated the ceremony and it was fun to get to introduce Paul to him, and I hope you've enjoyed these pictures. I would totally be a magician's assistant again if the opportunity came up and the girls weren't like sexualized too much, they were just a part of displaying the tricks. I think that would be cool. My eyes are like burning because I never wear lashes. Not like this anyway. The ones I use on brides are like half lashes, and so they don't look like this. Something that I do think I should have done but I didn't, if I were a magician's assistant, I would definitely bake with powder because it gets hot and sweaty under those lights. And even though the theater was cool, it still gets really hot when you're performing. So maybe I would do that. I forgot to do that part, but it's because I'm about to wash it right off, so I forgot. And primer. I didn't really use a primer. One, because I didn't on this side, like I didn't used to, but that I would do differently if I were actually performing. That look pretty different. I feel really different on each side. This feels a lot classier, even though it's like still really like a lot of makeup. This feels a little trashy, but that's just my opinion. Maybe it worked it was reproducible, it was easy to do, it was cheap. So maybe that's why it works. All right, great. Go be magical. Bye.